Welcome back to The Fight. We're coming to you from the University of Notre Dame. I'm Justine Ward, and joining us now is Thomas Sheffield, class of 1977, a coronavirus survivor, and he's coming to us from his home in Wisconsin. And Tom, we are so glad you're out of the hospital and on the road to recovery. Thank you so much for joining us today here on The Fight. We want to first ask you, what were some of your early symptoms with having COVID-19? When did you know something was wrong?
Well, my wife Mary and I were actually monitoring the whole coronavirus situation, primarily because we had a son who was studying in London in his second semester. And so we were pretty aware of things. I developed a cough for a couple of days and went away, and then had mild fever over a period of time. And, contacted my primary care physician. And he said that I didn't really qualify for testing at the time. And it was still at a time, in mid-March when testing was still, not readily available. So I never had one of those aha moments of, hey, is this the virus or not?
Now, with the new protocols in place, you had to actually go into the emergency room by yourself. What happened then?
Well, the Monday that I was admitted, my wife noticed that I was acting a bit strange or out of character. And so she realized that, something was happening. So we got in the car, not sure how I got dressed, and we rushed off to the emergency room where, she went in, said, hey, my husband's in the car. They came out and off to the ER I went.
And what was your experience like in the hospital? Was it hard to communicate with the people taking care of you?
It was. I mean, my last communication with my wife was probably within an hour of being in the ER. I sent her a text. I said, it looks like they're going to be putting me on a ventilator. So at that stage, I knew that things were pretty serious. They didn't have a positive coronavirus test to go on, but they knew I was pretty ill and put me on the ventilator. So from a communication standpoint, for the first 15 to 16 days I was on the ventilator, there was no communication for me. I was in a fully sedated state. And so the hospital, the physicians, and the ICU nurses really did a wonderful job of communicating daily with my wife, Mary. And then Mary sent out a series of texts and emails to friends and others to basically, kind of monitor my progress. It was a really interesting time. Of course, it's a time that I have no recollection of. The funny thing is that when you're in the ICU, everybody's gowned up. They've got face shields on and masks and caps and so forth, and so you really only see their eyes. And so the day that I was actually being discharged from the hospital, I wanted to thank, in particular, one nurse, Maggie, who'd been my ICU nurse for, probably the last week and a half. And I yelled out, hey, where's Maggie? Where's Maggie? And she said to me, hey, I'm right behind you. I'm wheeling you out. I kind of half turned around, and she only had her mask on. I'm like, I would have never recognized her at all. Because her hair was out, and it was different. But the communication with the nurses and the physicians were just unbelievable. And then, of course, we had a tremendous amount of support from friends and Notre Dame and St. Mary's classmates. And so from a communication standpoint, after I was out of my sedation state, which took a couple of days after the ventilator, then there was a little bit more direct communication with my wife. But one of the challenges, of course, is your spouse and family can't visit, and so your caregivers really become family, so to speak.
Yeah, we saw that moving video of you leaving the hospital. We are so thrilled that you're feeling better, and we wish you all the best and continued recovery. Thank you so much for joining us, Tom.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate it. And let me say this, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much.